Hello everyone and welcome to Thursday. Today I'm going to be bringing you a vlog that many of you have been clamoring for the past couple of days. Nintendo versus Let's Players. That's going to be the topic of the vlog. Now I want to start by saying this vlog is actually not being filmed on Thursday. It's actually a few days later, just for the fact that everything I wanted to say in this video was said at greater length and in more detail by a fellow YouTuber, Total Biscuit. And I'm going to give you the basic version. I'd already filmed this vlog, but I decided after he released his that I would back away from trying to do the in-depth stuff, give just a very basic version, and then send you over to his video if you're really interested in learning like the detail stuff, which I think that you should look into, because it's actually incredibly interesting. So in case you haven't heard, in the past couple of days there's been a lot of commotion on Twitter, on Facebook, and on YouTube, especially in the comments of Let's Play videos, in particular Nintendo Let's Play videos, about this recent going on where Nintendo is content ID matching video and audio content on YouTube. Now, I'm going to have to give you a brief background of YouTube and how it works and how monetization works. So if you already know about that, you can skip forward in the video a little bit, but otherwise just hang tight for a second. The way I and hundreds, if not thousands, of other YouTubers make a living each day is by creating content for YouTube. If you aren't already aware, my income consists solely of making YouTube videos. I run two major channels, this channel, Stephen Vlog, and another channel, Stephen Plays. Between the two channels, I'm producing about 80 videos or so a month, and I work about 60 hours or so a week. Some people work less, and some people work less and make more. But there's a lot of people doing YouTube for a living, and to be honest, it's a pretty sweet job. I get to do whatever I want, I have full creative freedom, and I can upload it to the internet for everyone to enjoy, and I actually get paid for it. Well, not full creative freedom, that's where Content ID comes in. You see, as a YouTube member, you can actually enable your account for monetization, which means you put ads next to or on your video, and you get paid for your videos. The only problem is, what would be stopping you from just uploading movies or uploading TV shows? Because you didn't actually make these, and you have to have full permission for everything that you upload to YouTube in order to gain financially off of it. So YouTube created this thing called the Content ID system. Basically, it's a huge database of video and audio files, and whenever you upload a video to YouTube, it's matched against this database, and if anything matches, then your video goes into the hands of the person who originally uploaded that content. So for example, let's say a major movie studio puts their full movie into this database. Then let's say you come along and you decide to upload the movie. Doesn't matter if you upload it in one part or in many parts or whatever, you put it on YouTube. Almost immediately that movie is going to match in the database. Then it is up to the movie studio to decide what to do with that content. And usually it's all automated and they decide it in advance. They can either put ads on it themselves, which means you gain nothing, but the video stays up, but every time someone watches it, that movie company gains off of it. Or they can remove it, and also give you a copyright strike. Basically, the concept for copyright strikes are simple. Get 3 strikes, and you're out, and you lose your YouTube account. And that's bad. Don't let that happen. Now, more than likely, if you're dealing with a movie, they're not going to let it stay up. They don't want to gain ad revenue off of the movie because they're going to make a lot more money if they just sold you the movie. So normally that's going to be taken down, possibly and probably with a copyright strike. Movies are static media. They never change. If you upload a movie now, it's going to be the same as if someone else uploads a movie or uploads a movie 10 years from now. So it's always going to match in the database. But video games won't, because video games aren't static pieces of media. To a degree, you are controlling a video game because you have to play the game unless you're playing, Metal Gear Solid 4. But because of the nature of video games, they don't really match in the Content ID system very well. Cutscenes can match, obviously, and audio can match, obviously. But many times, developers and publishers choose not to put their audio files and their video files into the Content ID database. Why do they decide not to do that? The reason they often turn a blind eye to this kind of thing is free advertising. People are uploading content about their games and more or less creating a buzz. Now that can be argued, and I understand that there's arguments for both sides, but in my humble opinion, I feel like usually, depending on the game, especially if it's like a single, linear adventure storyline thing, it can be beneficial for the developer and the publisher. And many of them don't use Content ID. I don't feel it's because they don't know what Content ID is, because Content ID has been around for many years. I feel that they're literally turning a blind eye to the fact that they want people to just continue uploading things, but they haven't quite agreed to the whole situation. So if they ever change their mind down the road, they can. They're kind of leaving themselves open. That's how I interpret it. However, there's actually many companies that let you create Let's Plays and gaming videos and reviews or whatever and use their content fully. These companies, all the companies that you see on the screen, you can create content on YouTube using any of these companies and monetize their content with their blessing. You can keep 100% of the revenue that you earn because they have been asked about it and they have responded about it. And I'll put a link in the description where you can find a list and like the terms of service where they've said publicly that you can do this, because you might need that for your YouTube account. So anyway, now that you know the backstory, now we can get to the meat and potatoes of what I wanted to talk about. Back in February, Nintendo finally joined YouTube, and in the process, they began putting some of their audio and visual content into the Content ID database, which means things began matching. Now, it's hard to match gameplay, like I said, because gameplay is always going to be different. A lot of times it was things like music, because there's not a whole lot of cutscenes in Nintendo games, although there are some, a lot of times like opening reels and things like that. So Nintendo started to put all of that stuff in. Now, this made some of the gaming channels a little upset, just for the fact that while there are publishers that put their stuff in there, a lot of them don't. A lot of them turn a blind eye, and some of them, you know, even encourage it and say, here's our blessing, create content. But some people are a little upset. However, that's actually not the reason it's come to a head this week. The reason it's come to a head this week is because you'll remember I said that they submitted Content ID stuff back in February. It's not that it's taken so many months to check the backlog, although to be fair, maybe it did take that long to start checking the backlog, but the issue that I've been seeing pop up around the place is that Nintendo is not only running Content ID matches to just, you know, automatically find things, it's actually manually selecting videos, and I'll explain why. If you do upload a video, let's say a gaming video, and you have a Content ID match, so let's say I upload a demo for Demo Fridays, and it has a cutscene in it or something, and I get a Content ID match on that, because it's possible to get those. So I get a Content ID match on that demo. I don't make any money off of that demo, and the person that uploaded that cutscene does. Now, I always double check, though, to make sure that it's the company that uploaded that cutscene. For example, if it's a Konami video game, I make sure that Konami is the company making revenue off of that, because as bad as it sounds, there's actually organizations and people out there that have submitted a bunch of stuff themselves so they'll make money. So you got to make sure that it's the actual company. Otherwise, you can dispute it and you're good. Anyway, whenever you look at the page that tells you who is the one that owns the content and why it's being Content ID'd, it'll also give you a little timestamp. That timestamp tells you where in the video the content is matching. That way you'll know if it's a song or if it's a cutscene or whatnot. Some of the Nintendo videos that started matching this week don't have timestamps. That's bad. What that means is that it wasn't automated. That means Nintendo selected that video manually, which means that there's someone in, you know, the higher ups of the marketing department or whatever that is actually manually going through and selecting videos. That's kind of problematic. Now, one thing I don't want to discuss is the legal ramifications behind Let's Playing. Let's Playing is in a very, very gray area, and people have a lot of opinions on the subject. You have to understand that video games are a very transformative work in and of themselves, because it's not static like a movie or a television show. When you're playing a game, that content, the gameplay itself, becomes yours. The gameplay is yours, but the art assets, the music, everything else that makes up the game is not yours. And the commentary is yours. The question is, does it become such a transformative work, such a remix, that the entire work is yours? Or is it partially? And should Nintendo be allowed to take all of the revenue from it? Or should the person that created the content be allowed to take all of it? Or should there be some sort of split? I've read a lot of things about the subject, and I'm no expert on copyright law, and most of you are probably not experts on copyright law, but I've read a lot on the subject, and even the people that don't quite understand everything feel like maybe there should be a split. which is fine. And the reason that we would really need a split is if Nintendo doesn't allow there to be revenue of some kind, then big name LPers are going to stop creating Nintendo Let's Plays. That's what this is all about. See, even whenever there's content IDs for other companies, it's things like cutscenes. You know, you might have 1 or 2 episodes and they want to gain revenue off of 1 or 2 episodes. It's all automated. Sometimes you can dispute it. If you're with a network, which I haven't even discussed, a lot of times they'll let you bypass it because the networks are goody-goody with developers and publishers. That's one of the reasons you join networks. So there's a lot of other factors going on, but the main issue is if Nintendo does take 100% of the revenue, Nintendo Let's Plays are going to stop, at least from the bigger guys. A lot of people are pointing fingers and saying, well, that means you're only in it for the money. That's not true. You have to understand that, and I can speak as someone who's doing YouTube full-time, I worked 60-hour weeks, and it is a lot of work. And putting out quality content is a lot of work, especially when you're creating so much of it on a daily basis, let alone running 2 daily channels. That being said, it's not that Nintendo LPs would completely disappear. It's not that quality Nintendo Let's Plays would completely disappear. But for someone like myself who is creating this content on a daily basis as a job and has the time to devote to it as a job, I can honestly say that if I wasn't doing that, if I didn't have this time, if I was doing another job, that Nintendo Let's Plays, you know, Let's Plays in general, would be far and few between for me because I already am lacking free time now. If I was running another job, if I had another job and I was trying to do Let's Playing on the side, I could not do it. I would be releasing videos like maybe once a week. That's what I mean. So you can hopefully see that the stakes for this are actually pretty high, just for the fact that people love Let's Plays, and people love Nintendo Let's Plays, and that if Nintendo does take the money from Let's Players, from gaming videos, from review videos, then those people that produce this content are not going to create that content because they've chosen to do this as a job. They need all of that time to create quality content. They're going to do other games. Even if there's a split, even if there is a 50-50 split, what is the incentive of doing a Nintendo game getting 50% of the ad revenue that you normally would compared to doing a Blizzard game or a Valve game and getting 100% of the revenue? People are going to be pulled to these other games. Now, I'm not saying that Nintendo LPs would stop, but for someone like myself, someone who is producing 80 videos or more a month because I have to, like I have to make that much or I will not survive, I couldn't do it. I would have to be forced to go with other companies. Now, someone who is making a lot of money, you know, someone who has hundreds of thousands of subscribers, they could deal with a 50% cut with Nintendo. That would be fine. But if there's a 0% cut, and people who do, like, let's just say, straight Nintendo Let's Plays for a living, there won't really be Nintendo Let's Plays from that person anymore, because that's what they do for a job. That's what they do to live. That's why you get content from them so often, and it's so high quality. That's the big issue here. Okay, so I feel like I explained that pretty well. In fact, I think I actually over-explained what I was trying to do because I was trying to keep it basic, but I think I did pretty good. There is a video made by Total Biscuit, and I'm going to link that to you in the video description. It is 30 minutes long, but it's pretty much just audio. So you can just listen to it while you're doing other things. I highly recommend you listen to that because he does an even better job than I did or will hope to do on the subject. It's just very informative. He doesn't get a whole lot into the legal side, but he talks about the ramifications and what could come about if this goes through and this doesn't change. I understand that people are very adamant on both sides. There are people that say, well, Let's Playing should be a hobby, Nintendo deserves 100% of the money, this shouldn't even be an issue, and Let's Players shouldn't be getting paid in the first place because they didn't create the game. I understand that side. There's another side that says, you know, it's completely transformative, the gameplay is theirs, the commentary is theirs, there's so many other companies that are letting them do this, Nintendo should be one of them. That's also a side. And then there's people that fall somewhere in the middle that say, okay, well, you know, Nintendo made a good part of it, the commentator made a good part of it, there should be a split. I am not the legal guy. I am not the legal guy, and I'm definitely not here for either your pity or your judgment. I just want to inform you of what's going on. The big issue here is not that Nintendo submitted things to Content ID, because that's been done before. There are other companies that have done that, and you know, something will match and that's okay. Life moves on. You make other gameplay videos. They get the first episode that has all of the cutscenes, and then people move on. The downside is whenever Nintendo, and I haven't seen any other company except Sega that one time, go after videos like Nintendo is doing. The belief right now is that Nintendo doesn't know what they're doing. They understand that when they click the button, they get paid, and they're not thinking about how this goes through all of the Let's Players who are making money from this, how it's their livelihood, and how they have a bunch of fans who are watching this who love Nintendo, and that if the Let's Players like, I'm not doing Nintendo games, then that they're losing a lot of free advertising. Although, then again, that goes back to the fact, is it free advertising or not? I feel it is. You may not, and we disagree. Anyway, there are a million other things I could talk about. I know that I could start bringing up networks and how they work. The basic rundown is you join a network to get permission to do gaming content in the first place, if it's not one of those logos I showed you earlier, because you need permission from the developers and the publishers. The reason this Nintendo thing has gone on so long is because you either have people turning a blind eye, or you have permission, and in the case of those that you don't, you have companies like Nintendo that just never joined Content ID. That's why this has gone on so long. That's why this is coming to a head now, and it's got to be dealt with. We either need to know that Nintendo is not going to back down, in which case you're going to see far fewer Nintendo LPs, or if they're going to split it, or if they're just going to say, hey, oh, you know, I understand now. You guys do your thing and continue to advertise our games for us. Well, what's going to happen? I don't know. I don't know. And to be completely honest, I got to end the video this way. I am so sick of hearing about it. So many people talking on Twitter, so many people talking on Facebook, so many people talking in comments. And I'm not trying to say that I'm upset at any of you for bringing it to my attention or wanting to know my opinion on it. It's just, there's way too much being talked about right now. Right now, we don't know enough of what's going on. We don't know what Nintendo's doing. We know that the networks are actually talking to Nintendo, which is good, because we got to figure out what's going on. And because we don't know, we need to drop it and not worry about it. Are people still releasing Nintendo content right now? Yeah. Are we releasing Nintendo content right now? Yeah. Yeah. Releasing Twilight Princess, and everything's good. People want to know if any of our stuff is matched. We have had them manually select one of the episodes of Twilight Princess, which was weird, but they did it. So, we don't know a whole lot right now. I'm not going to stop making Nintendo LPs. A lot of people are not going to stop making Nintendo LPs. Nintendo also said that you could make shorter content and everything will be okay. It's weird, man. It's weird. Things are weird. That's why I say we don't know enough. So until then, chill out. Don't worry about it. Now you're informed. If you want to talk about it, you can. Please try not to argue. People have different opinions. If you want to share your opinion, that's fine. Don't attack other people's opinions. Please don't do that. And I really can't stress enough that if you are interested in the subject, listen/watch Turtle Biscuit's video in the description, because it really does a better job than I could ever do. This video was way freaking longer than I meant it to be. But I went into detail much more than I needed to. Anyway, that's going to be it. Don't ask me about the subject again. We're very diverse, and we do a lot of different games. Very few Nintendo games even pop up on our radar, so this wouldn't really affect us very much anyway, not to mention that most of the revenue that we bring in comes from the vlog. Bet you didn't know that. It does. So, it doesn't affect us. I do feel for the people that it does affect, but we don't know a whole lot right now, so let's just wait and see. Thanks for watching. Let's meet back tomorrow, shall we? Yeah.